Bit of a slower start again against our old buddy Adam Behrens, but again, second straight night that they kind of figured it out halfway through, and good pitching kind of got them there.
Yeah, just we were able to put up some singles there early on, get a lead, but we still got to stick to the approach, man. It's kind of beating a dead horse, continuing to stay with an approach throughout 9 innings. It's tough. So they lose focus a little bit. They try to get big, do too much, and a lot of early swinging, soft contacts. Trying to do a little bit too much, but end of the day, they made some adjustments there in the 6th, and were able to string a few hits together and run them out of there, and put up a crooked number and kind of get a little breathing room, which was nice. And then they did enough to get it done, but still there's room for improvement.
What adjustments did you like that you saw going through the second time in the 6th?
Just took our hits to the middle of the field, right? And we weren't trying to spin off and hit homers. I think Rolly started off there with a base hit, and I can't remember the sequence of events there that happened, but we just kind of start staying up the middle a little bit more, and they weren't as loud hits, but they were hits. That's how you start rallies, and for me that's the biggest thing. You're not always gonna be able to run into stuff and hit homers. It might be nice every now and again, but put guys on base, and then stay with the approach in the middle of the field, and good things happen.
Landon's homer went 461 feet. I think it was the second longest at Muni. I know we've talked about him getting bigger physically, but did you think he was capable of kind of a homer that long or that far?
Yeah, I just don't tell him how far it went. Then we'll try to hit it 462 tomorrow, and then we'll be in trouble again. But no, I mean the power's in there with him, and I've been saying it all along. The kid's just he's a great hitter. B, he's getting more physical, and the older he gets, the more he's going to mature and get more physical, and the power is just going to come naturally. So he's got too good a swing. When he tries to do that stuff, it doesn't happen. I think that pitch, he was sitting pretty dead red and got it and didn't get cheated and kind of caught all of it. So that was obviously a nice swing when all those elements work together. But yeah, he's obviously got a pretty good pop.
Going off that, did that hit look like it had a little more humps with you than normal compared to the normal Harrison homer? Could you tell it almost hit a little farther
Yeah,
than the average?
I mean, as soon as that one's up, it's bad. I'm like, ooh, shit. He kind of got that one. But I'm glad he didn't bat flip or do anything like that. We're trying to really tone that type of stuff down, and these guys are buying into that. Just, hey, hit your homer and drop the bat, get around the bases, and get in the dugout and celebrate in there. So guys are doing a good job of that.
With Beckett, you gave PJ the day off and you moved him over to short. How do you think he's dealt with his position of it's been some spot starts, but he's starting to get more consistent time as a third and as short? How do you think he's adapted to all of that?
Well, that's what's going to have to be. At the end of the day, that PJ's done a really good job at shortstop, and so is Beckett too, for that matter. But I can't play them both at short, so he's going to bounce around. The initial thought was to bounce him over to second every once in a while, but taking Contradas out of the lineup anytime soon. So he's going to mix in at third and short, and those guys are going to rotate a little bit over there and to try to stay sharp and take the reins there a little bit, and Finn Leach is entering into the conversation too on maybe starting to mix him in there as well. We got to get a little bit more consistent. But Beckett's done a good job. He's starting to get back to himself and stay in that right center gap, and had some really good at bats. But bottom line, those guys are capable of more than they're doing right now. I think both of them, he and Rolly, are both capable of doing more, and they're starting to come around. But at the end of the day, we got to get a little bit more out of those guys.
Alex's first start of the year. What'd you see out of him tonight?
For Ove, he was great. He started the game, pretty electric, throwing the ball really well, and again, we had a pretty set pitch count on him that we didn't want to go much above 60 pitches with him today, which is a little shorter than he probably wanted, but we get to make that call, not him. And sometimes we're a little bit on the cautious side, but again, these guys' arms health is paramount for us, and We're gonna need him to be a horse throughout the entire season, and specifically once we start conference next week, continue to stretch him out as the starts keep racking up. So he did exactly what he was supposed to do today. Threw the ball really well, pounded the strike zone, and had a couple walks. Those were good pitches, but ended up walking a couple, but at the end of the day, he threw the ball really, really well.
To build off that, how hard is it as a coach? You mentioned last night too, trying to save players' arms for their careers, but also putting yourself in a position to win. How hard is it to balance those two things?
End of the day, of course we want to win, but I will do my best to never jeopardize a kid's career over a win. We're in leadership positions for a reason, that sometimes we got to protect kids from themselves, at times, and we get competitive. Nobody wants to win more than me, but on the same token, I'm responsible for these young men's careers and what they do, and we're going to do everything in our knowledge and our power to keep their long-term goals intact, and again, I don't, at the expense of winning a game, I'll go back to, I gotta put my head on the pillow at night too, knowing that I gave a kid every opportunity to A, keep him protected, and B, for us to win the game. And for me, those two go kind of hand in hand. I gotta manage that, and there's times when, we're late in the year and warm day, and they're built up and strong, and we can cut them loose a little bit and run the pitch count up, a little bit. We've seen guys that are capable of doing that. It's just a matter of fact of, matter of knowing who's able to do that, and gauge it based on how mechanics are looking and how the ball's coming out. All those type of things are important to factor into it.
You gave Overbay the opportunity to start here today. What was that decision kind of like throughout the week?
We looked at it from a standpoint, he's been so good out of the pen. Over a weekend, you look going in today, he had 9 innings total on the year, and I'm like, with a guy with that kind of stuff, we're not getting enough innings out of him. With somebody that is that good, yes, those are 9 important innings, and yes, we can strategically use him in the right spots, but we just feel like at this point in the year, we can get more innings eaten up with him, with our best bullets, with our best guys, and he's one of our best arms. So we can sit and kind of hold back, I guess, and look on a weekend. Maybe we get 3 innings out of him, and we're going, gosh, it's a kid we could probably get 6 innings out of over a weekend instead of 3. And I think ultimately that makes our bullpen better because it keeps them fresher, and if we eat up more innings on the front end, then maybe those guys tick up a little bit on the back end. So we feel right now we have enough bullets in the back end to finish out games that are close. Guys are going to need to step up. Buxton threw the ball outstanding today. He's going to need to step up. Shafe obviously has been what he's been. Fitzy's what he's been. We gotta love to get Easton Barrett back in the saddle and throwing the ball the way he's capable. Alba, we feel like we have plenty of bullets back there. Josh Butler, good clean appearance today for the most part. We have enough back there to spit and glue and get through those games as of right now that we feel. So if something changes where it's glaringly that we can't do that, then we'll have to make an adjustment at that point. But right now we're trying to maximize our best arms.
You just listed off a ton of guys there. There's about 5 or 6, maybe even more guys who could start in a game. What is that kind of like as a coach when you have so much depth, not only in the bullpen, but also on the bump to start?
Well, you would like to see, I guess, in a perfect world, it makes my job tough, and that's what we want who to go to. But on the same token, you'd like to see some of those guys step up and rise up and start getting really defined roles, especially as we go into conference. The guy I forgot, obviously, was Colin Linder. He's been throwing the ball really well out of the pen yesterday too. So we can kind of start hopefully defining those, and if our starters can give us 5 innings, 6 innings consistently, and start defining that backs, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who's going to be the guys to go to in those situations? I think it really starts coming together. At least on paper, it does.
Specifically, Jeremy spoke about Alex all preseason that he had the stuff to be a starter. Can you kind of take me back to when you first started recruiting? When did you realize this is a guy who can be a Saturday starter for us. But at the moment, you figure out who he was? Or?
Well, when he went in the portal and I got a call about him, he was a closer and kind of a two-pitch guy, but he had a great arm. You know, he was 94, 96. He had thrown here against us, and from the time he threw against us to the end of the year, he'd gotten better and better. And Alex used to be a two-way player, right? And so he last year was his first year just focused on pitching. So when you have that kind of talent, I guess, and you see the progression where he starts getting better and better, it's like he really hasn't had a full-time, just over a year of just dedicated to pitching. And we thought we could do something special with him and give him another pitch or two for his repertoire to where he could maybe end up becoming a starter, but at worst we had a really good back-end guy who had experience closing. So that's the way we looked at it initially, and now go figure, we were trying to build back end of the bullpen with Carlone and him going, okay, we got some studs in the back end, and now they're our starters. So we got to rebuild the back end a little bit, but that's okay. I think we have enough back there right now, in my opinion.
Specifically tonight with that bullpen, 9 guys left on base. They were 0 of 8 with runners in scoring position. How do you feel they executed in those situations down the stretch?
You know, we got ourselves in a little bit of trouble with a couple of walks there. The 1 inning OV pitched his way out of a very not a good defensive play there at third. The play that needs to be made, and then we had the guy picked off dead to rights, and we don't concentrate and drop the ball there on a pickup. And we essentially gave him 5 outs at inning. Against, you know, those are things we have to clean up and be better at. We can't give teams 5 outs in an inning and not get burned. So OV stepped up, made a pitch when he had to, got us out of that. The other times that we put runners on base, we were able to wiggle out of there. Fitzy came in, did a good job getting the lefty out. But again, those situations you obviously try to avoid. You're never going to fully avoid base runners. That's part of baseball. But when those do happen, our guys have done a really good job of pitching themselves out of it a little bit, which has been good to see.
Can you talk about the job that Taylor Penn did coming in with a man in scoring position and just his overall performance?
Yeah, T-Pen's been great. He's been a nice shot in the arm of a guy who used to being a starter so far in his career, but capable of starting, but does a great job of just pounding the strike zone, throwing strikes. And it's always great to have. He's last year's Jonah Giblin, if you will, right? Where you can always count on Gibby to come in and pound the strike zone, throw strikes. As I say that, I think he walked the first guy he faced today, but that's uncharacteristic of T-Penn. He's usually a guy that's going to fill the strike zone up and make him swing the bats, and that's what we wanted in that situation. He does a really good job with that.
Did you talk to Adam Behrens at all? I know he was starting, so he might have been warming up, but did you get a chance to reconnect with him?
Just saw him briefly yesterday on his way to stretch, said hi to him, and obviously wished him well. And great kid. I wish him nothing but the best and success in his future. He had us off balance for 6 there tonight and did really, really well. I looked up after the 5th inning and somebody said he's only got 65 pitches. I'm like, gosh, dang it. We got to be better than that, but bottom line, the kid knows how to pitch. Like he knows how to change speeds, knows how to just nibble off the corners and get us use our aggression against us. Kid knows how to pitch. He knew how to pitch when he was here too. So I'm super happy for him. And now that this weekend, for him, the weekend is over, I wish him nothing but the best.
Talk about the camaraderie of this team, because as you mentioned, your job as a coach is hard when you have this many good players, both offensively and pitching wise. Does it make that job any easier decision wise when it seems like no matter what role players are in, they're just happy to be on the field helping their teammates?
In a perfect world, that's what you like. And again, there's some alpha males in there, right? That want to play, and that's okay. I don't ever want them to be happy about not playing. That's kind of a bad way of looking at things, I guess. But the days they're not playing, you don't want them to be happy, but they can't let it spill over into the camaraderie of our team. And I think as of right now, we've done a good job. These guys have bought into understanding that. There's kids that want to play that haven't gotten their opportunities, that are waiting anxiously, and kind of hinting like, what do I got to do to, you know, maybe get those opportunities, coach? And it's like, well, I mean, keep grinding and stay ready. Best I can give you. I don't promise playing time. It's just, it's earned. But there's a lot of capable guys that are waiting and itching to play.
Can you talk about the impact of home runs this season, not only for the score obviously, but for the momentum of the team, especially here in Tempe?
I mean, that's they're nice. Home runs are nice to have, and they light everybody up and get everybody excited. At the end of the day, man, I like my one after another doubles and singles and base hits and the merry-go-round going. But homers are nice too. That's spoken from a guy who never didn't hit very often. So, but at the end of the day, they're great. They're great momentum swingers and good to get guys excited and get them going.
I'll
Last
ask
question.
specifically about one of those guys that is looking for another opportunity. You talked last night about Sam Myers, and he comes in tonight off the bench and gets another hit. How close is he to getting those opportunities like we saw at the beginning of the season, like an everyday starter?
Well, maybe closer than you think. So we'll see how it pans out. I haven't dove into tomorrow's starter yet, who they're going with and what his repertoire is. But Sam's a guy that very capable of doing good things and dynamic player that can bunt, steal bases, you know, put the ball in play. Swing's starting to look more like Sam Myers here this past week. So, you know, we'll see if that factors into decisions tomorrow, and if not, he's always ready. I know that much.
Thank you.